Do you ever feel like no matter how much you eat, you're either still hungry or ready to just collapse on the couch after dinner? Your macro balance affects everything in your metabolism, for how you feel after you eat, how hungry you are, to how long your energy lasts, and how well you do rest afterwards. Your macros kind of like, think of them almost like a three-legged stool. Too much or too little of one, and you collapse on the floor. So today we're going to break down why a relatively even balance of your macros, according to, as far as kilocalories are concerned, is the ideal balance for the majority of people at most stages of your life. That's pretty much it. You can stop watching the video right now if you really want to. But if you want to understand it, join me in this deep dive. I'm Dr. Will, family wellness chiropractor, and I've been helping families unlock their God-given healing potential for over a decade. And it's not just people that I've helped in my own office and practice, but this has transformed my own family's life as well, for myself, my wife, and even my 2.5-year-old toddler. No fad diets, no gimmicks, no expensive supplements, just good old-fashioned, simple, high-quality, healthy food. Because why would we do anything different? If you're anything like me, growing up in the 90s, I was raised on boxed breakfast cereal, right? And so our childhood was carb overload. And I was a little bit round as a kid. I was always one of the taller ones in my class, so I hit it really well. But by the time I got through high school, I was definitely overweight. By the time I got through college, I was carrying 50 to 60 pounds of excess body weight in the form of fat that I had to get rid of. And it was because I ate high carb, low fat, just like everybody else 20, 30 years ago did, because that's what we thought we were supposed to do. Turns out that has created a health epidemic here in America. 70% of American adults are overweight or obese. 40% of our children, I think it's 40% at this point, 40 or 50% of our children are already overweight or obese, and that's kids. 50% of adults have at least one daily prescription medication, and 1 in 5 children has the same. We are a sick, suffering society. So what we want to do is we want to switch that around, change that up, and drive back towards a healthier purpose. When God put you together, He didn't make mistakes. You were designed to be healthy. We just got to live according to our original design, and then normal health is like the natural result. So when it comes to diet, everyone thinks that low carb is the way to go. Well, it turns out that carbs are really important. Everyone thinks that low fat is the way to go. Well, it turns out that fats are actually incredibly important. Nobody really advocates for a low protein diet, so I guess there's some sanity left in the world. But we want to understand what each of these do to our diet. So we're going to think about your macros, your food macros, kind of like we're building a campfire. We're coming up on, it's almost summertime. Anyone else excited to get out and do some bonfires in the backyard, some campfires when we're going out camping? If you're building a campfire, you've got to start with some sort of kindling, something that's going to, the tinder. You got to start with tinder, something that's going to catch a spark, catch a flame, and go burn hot and fast, right? But it doesn't last for very long. So we might be using, you can use the classic like dryer lint to catch your sparks off of, your little fire starter. Or if you're like me and you're a little bit lazy, you just bring all of like the leftover newspapers that you never read, collect those from the gas station on your way out to the campsite, and you crumple up all the newspapers, right? So papers and newspapers like that would be the carbs in our system. It burns hot, and it burns fast, but it does not burn for very long. The next thing that you want to throw on your fire is some kindling. So some smaller sticks and twigs and some smaller logs that are going to catch relatively quickly, and they're going to really speed and build that flame, but they're not going to burn all night necessarily. That's going to be your proteins. Now, we're going to use some of our protein for energy. Ideally, we want to be getting enough energy from our carbs and our fats that we're not burning proteins so that we can build muscle. I'm in a phase right now where I'm trying to do that with my workout routine. So I'm eating a fair amount of protein, and I'm trying to move that more towards the anabolic side rather than the catabolic side. So I'm building muscle and not burning my protein. But still, the analogy holds. Protein is kind of like the kindling. It gets things going, but it doesn't last all night. If you want a great campfire and you want a great bonfire, you have to have some big, hearty, fat logs on there. And those are going to burn all night long. You're gonna wake up in the morning, you could probably cook on that sucker still because it's still hot. That's fats in our body. We get 2 times as much energy out of the same amount, 2 times the amount of energy out of fats than we do out of carbs and proteins of a similar quantity. Gram for gram, we get more energy out of fats. They're incredibly energy dense. But because they're incredibly energy dense, that also means that our body likes to store them. And if we don't have the metabolism or the activity levels to support it, now that's gonna just ramp up. But the same is also true if we overeat on carbs. We've been told for years now that we should be remember that old food pyramid that y'all grew up with, and so did I? The base of it was all processed grains and breads. Something like 60 to 70% of our diet was supposed to be made up of carbohydrates, and refined carbohydrates to boot. Where has that gotten us? Not healthy town. So we want to move back towards an even spread between the three. And in our house, we have a fairly equal spread of proteins, carbs, and fats. We have to have carbs. Our body thrives on them. Our muscles need carbs in order to actually burn, in order to function properly. So I need a healthy amount of carbohydrates in my diet. I also need healthy fats in order to give me that long-term fuel, and I need those proteins in order to build the body back up again. Fats are also super important for neurological health. So we need healthy fatty acids in order to protect our brain, in order to protect our nervous system. That's why everyone has been all aboard the fish oil train for the past 15, 20 years at this point. We know that we need healthy carbs, healthy fats, and healthy proteins. So what does that look like at the end of the day? You guys, it's simple. It really is simple. Just make them more or less even.